Hi everybody! Welcome to another week of Makers Monday. I am Anastasia Radloff, aka Stampin' Blondie, and I'm very excited to bring you your weekly step-by-step live crafting event. Now let me just make sure that I am following along with you here live on Facebook so I can see all of your comments. It looks like it may not, oh there, let's see. All right. Looks like it's popping up for me here. If you are joining me live here on Facebook, make sure to say hi. Let me know that you're following along with me. It's always fun to see where everybody is joining me from each week. If you're watching this via replay here on Facebook or on my YouTube page, make sure to comment replay and let me know that you were able to join me this week as well. It looks like I've got some comments popping up here. My internet must be, again, having some issues as always. Funny thing, I actually took my cable box to Cox this weekend, and I made it there literally 20 minutes after they closed on Saturday. So I am trying to get my internet upgraded, but it seems like every time I go they're closed. So I need to figure out a time when they're actually open and I can really get there on time. So hi Becky, hi Mom, hi Connie, hi Linda, thanks for joining me this week. I am excited to bring you two projects today featuring the Hats Off bundle. Now this stamp set from the new 2021-22, let me make sure I'm not glaring too much there, annual catalog actually didn't spark my eye the first time I saw it. I received this as a free gift from another demonstrator for participating in an event. So I am excited to show this off to everybody. I love to create masculine projects as much as I have trouble creating them sometimes. It's really fun to really get into a different type of project and to spark my creativity. Now, before I show you the two projects, I just have a couple quick announcements, just like every week that we have. The first one is I posted on my page this past week and I sent email out. If you're not on my newsletter email, there'll be a link in the description of this video after it is complete and you can sign up for my newsletter. That's where I debut all of my events first, and my newsletter recipients actually have first dibs on signing up for all of my events. So this is my first online BOGO of the year. So I posted this here. It will be June 19th through the 21st. It's all online. So if you're not able to join the in-person BOGO that we had in April, you can join online BOGO. So what exactly is BOGO? It stands for buy one, get one. And for every dollar you spend shopping from the new annual catalog, you will get to receive dollar for dollar my retired products for free. So I am excited to bring online BOGO. We did this last year during COVID and it was a really big success. So I brought it back in person in April, and now those that don't live close to Tucson or weren't able to attend in person can still take part in BOGO. Now this will be all through a private Facebook group. So the link to that group will be in the description of this video after it's complete, and all you have to do is join, and then on June 19th, all of the BOGO items will be posting at 8 a.m. Pacific time. We are Pacific here, so it's weird in Arizona. I never know what time zone we're on. We never change what everybody does around us, so it's hard to figure out what we line up to. So online BOGO is coming June 19th through the 21st. You'll have all that weekend to be able to shop through my retired items, and then you'll have 48 hours to place your online order using a specific host code. So make sure to join the group in the description of this video after I'm done today so you can join in on online BOGO. Also, the next announcement that I have is all of the last chance items from the retiring mini catalog were debuted last week. Now we kind of already knew what was going to be retiring because you can kind of compare with the annual catalog what is in there and what's not, so that you know what's retiring from the mini catalog. Now there's a whole list of items. Now I have not going to go through all of these here today, but I will post the link, of course, in this video description that you can go on here and see all of the retiring items. Now, some of these are up to 50% off. So there's everything from stamp sets, dies, designer series paper, embellishments, ribbon, anything you can think of for paper crafting is on the last chance list. Now, these items are all while supplies last. So if there's something on that list that you see that you just have to have, make sure to grab those as soon as you can, because once they are sold out, they will not be restocking any of those products. Now, unfortunately, my #1 favorite item from the entire catalog, the hot dog stamp set, this is retiring. So if you love wiener dogs just like I do, make sure to grab the hot dog stamp set. But there are so many fun things in here that are retiring, and I'm very sad to see them go, but I'm excited to see what else is coming as well. So as demonstrators, we get to pre-order from the new holiday catalog coming up starting in July. So I am really looking forward to pre-ordering some fun holiday products to be able to bring you fun projects over the holiday season. All right, the last thing I want to do, I'm gonna flip my camera here so you guys can see that, is my June class. So as a reminder, my June class deadline is coming up June 12th, this Saturday. So the details for this, we are using the Hats Off bundle, which I'm gonna be featuring today. Now this is just a sneak peek of 2 of the projects that you will be completing. You will receive supplies to create 8 projects, 4 different designs, 2 of each design. And we are featuring, like I said, the Hats Off stamp set and bundle, which I'll be using to create alternate projects with today. Now in your class kit, like I mentioned, you'll receive card kits for 8 projects, 4 different designs, a full pack of the Neutrals 6x6 designer series paper. So these are all the colors from our Neutrals color family. And then a package of silver and clear epoxy essentials. So you get circles, diamonds, and teardrops in both silver and clear. The best part about these is that you can change the color of these with Stampin' Blends. So if you have Stampin' Blends, you can change the color of these to match your projects. We're actually gonna be using those on our cards today. So deadline to register is this coming Saturday. I unfortunately will not be able to accept any late registrations, so you'll want to make sure to jump on that. The details for this class will be, again, in the description of this video or on stampinblondie.com, my website. Everything's posted on there as well. All right, as always, I do something called Prize Patrol, and if you are new here, welcome. I go live every Monday, normally at 5 p.m. Pacific, but today I had my last COVID shot, so I wanted to give myself a little time before I went live. So last week, our Prize Patrol, I featured the Soft Pastels assortment. Now these pastels, we did some really fun techniques for using these. So if you haven't checked that out, make sure to check out last week's Technique Tuesday video. So our winner for last week was Lisa Johnson. So congratulations to Lisa. Send me your email or your address and I will pop these in the mail for you tomorrow. So I see Becky is watching and she received her Prize Patrol package today. So I'm glad you received that, Becky. I can't wait to see what you create with the peach stamp set. Now today's Prize Patrol is something fun, and I'm actually going to use it on my projects as well. It is on page 128 of the Stampin' Up! Catalog, and it's actually kind of hidden up here in the corner. We are going to be giving out the Stampin' Emboss powders. Now they come together in a set. The set I'm giving away comes with clear, white, and black embossing powders all together in one. Oh good, she's watching. Hi Lisa. Message me your address and I will get that into the mail for you tomorrow. So the Stampin' Emboss powders, we're gonna use the clear on our projects today. So I don't have them all out, but I just wanted to let everybody know what our Prize Patrol is for this week. So Stampin' Emboss powders, I love them. They really give some fun dimensions to our projects. All right, our 2 projects today, we are going to be creating these really fun and different techniques here. The first project we're gonna do is this Night of Navy and Pumpkin Pie project featuring the Hats Off stamp set and bundle. And then the second one will be this really fun galaxy technique. It's almost like a Technique Tuesday rolled into a Maker's Monday, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. Now our first project here, and both of our projects actually, are featured on my free PDF tutorial that I have on my website, stampinblondie.com right now. So each Monday, I bring you this free PDF tutorial that has all of the details for the 2 projects that I feature each week. Now this one shows the item name, item number, the price, and the dimensions for all the projects, so you can pair this with this video and create these projects at home. I know Cindy is watching, and each week she likes to create the Makers Mondays projects, so I cannot wait to see what she comes up with this week. All right, our first project today features the Night of Navy and Pumpkin Pie. Now this, as soon as I saw this stamp set, it really sparked me because it has this tiger image and the sentiment that says, "Go get 'em, tiger." Now, while I don't have any kids of my own, this stamp set sparked in my mind, all I could think of was Tiger Cub Scouts. And so I went online and I looked up their Tiger Cub colors. Are they Tiger Scouts or Tiger Cubs? I'm not sure. I was a Girl Scout. I don't know what Boy Scouts names are, but I know that their colors are navy and orange. So I wanted to create this really fun tiger inspired card for our project. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. Our first project today has a piece of Night of Navy cardstock, which is 5.5 by 8.5. This is a regular sheet of cardstock cut in half, scored down the middle to get in 5.5 by 8.5 piece of cardstock right here. Now I have another piece of Pumpkin Pie cardstock. This is 3 3/4 by 5 1/8, my standard matte size for my projects. And we're going to adhere that down with our Stampin' seal here. And we're just gonna place that right in the middle of our card base. I have another piece of Night of Navy cardstock. I pre-embossed this. I hope it's coming through with the lights. This is using the brick and mortar embossing folder. Now I pre-embossed this just to save a little bit of time, but the brick and mortar embossing folder is actually a 3D embossing folder. So it's really fun. It creates this fun brick pattern to it. And this is 3.5 by 4 7/8. So just a 1/4 inch smaller on 2 sides, and that'll get the perfect mat size for our pumpkin pie piece here. Another piece of pumpkin pie, this is the Regal's Designer Series paper. Actually, the same patterned paper that's featured in my June class, but that one's neutrals and this is Regal's. It has these really fun designs on both sides, and I'm gonna use this fun plaid color. So this is 1 inch by 3.5, just to fit right down the middle here. All right, let's go ahead and create our hat here. I'm gonna use Night of Navy ink to stamp the outline of our baseball hat here. And you will need clear block letter E for this. This is a bigger stamp. It won't fit on our normal clear block D, which fits just about everything, I feel like. But clear block E will fit exactly the hat size that you need. We are gonna be using, like I said, Night of Navy ink for our hat. And we're gonna stamp this first. And I just have a scratch piece of basic white cardstock here today. Right there is our stamp. We're also going to stamp the tiger in Pumpkin Pie ink, and I'm going to stamp that right here in the upper corner of this. We're going to utilize the whole piece of cardstock here today. So Pumpkin Pie right in the upper corner of that. And now we are going to color in our hat. So I want to color this in first before I die cut anything. And I am using the Pumpkin Pie Stampin' Blends and then Night of Navy Stampin' Blends. Let me make sure I've got, there we go, Night of Navy. I'm going to take my dark Night of Navy first and just do some quick highlighting on this. I'm gonna do, this is gonna make it just a little bit darker in certain areas of the baseball hat. And then we're gonna come in and color it in with the brush side of the light. Just gives it a little bit of dimension to our project. Not anything too crazy here. Oh, Leia's over here saying hi to everybody if you can hear her. It's her dinner time. Normally I'm done with Makers Monday at this time and she eats dinner every day at 6 o'clock, like on the dot. So she'll just have to wait until Makers Monday is done for me to be able to feed her. I swear dogs get on like a schedule. They know exactly what time it is. All right, we're gonna only use the dark Pumpkin Pie blends. I don't want to use the light orange just because we really don't need any shadow on this part here. So I'm gonna quickly color this in here. It's okay, go away. I'll feed you when I'm done. So we're gonna quickly color in just the orange hat here. Now I looked up this design online. This is what their tiger cub hat looks like. They have a blue background with the orange in the front. So that's what that looks like. Now we're gonna use the hat builder dies here. Now I have this hat builder actually cuts out the stitching at the same time. So not only does it cut the design of the hat out, but also adds this really fun stitching to the hat. So if you've been thinking about getting the build or the hat dies, definitely get the builders as well, because you can cut that out and add that fun stitching to it. I'm gonna add a piece of washi tape to my cardstock just to hold my die in place as I run that through. And then we're gonna cut out this tiger at the same time, and I'm going to add washi tape to that as well. That'll hold it in place so once we run it through the machine, it's not going to move that around as it goes through. Right, we're gonna get out our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. We've got the big Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine today. And these actually fit through the mini ones, but I just wanted to get the big one out so it was a little easier. Because we have the washi tape on there, it'll hold everything in place as it runs through the machine. So we've got our big machine out of the way, our plates here with our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So with the washi tape, like I mentioned, that holds those dies in place, so as it cuts, it's not going to move around. So we've got our stitched hat here. You can see the stitching that's on there. And then our little tiger piece in the middle. So this card can actually be done in a variety of colors. It doesn't just have to be for tiger cubs. But as soon as I saw this, like I said, my mind immediately went to Boy Scouts and tiger cubs, and I don't know exactly what they're called. But if I'm calling them the wrong thing, just let me know. Tiger cubs, tiger scouts, I don't even know what they're called. All right, on the back of this, we're gonna use dimensionals. And I don't need 2 sheets, just one's good. And I'm gonna put, because it's a bigger piece, I'm gonna put 4 dimensionals on the back. Peel those backings off, and we're gonna put that right in the middle of our card here. For our sentiment, I have this little piece of basic white cardstock, and I'm going to use Night of Navy for this as well. And we're gonna use the sentiment, of course, Go Get 'Em Tiger, which fits perfectly on our little piece here. The stitching on the hat is neat. Yes, I like that it's a 2-in-1. It does both at the same time, so you don't even have to run it through twice. It's perfect. And actually the little triangle diamond shape that I cut out here too, there's actually stitching for that too. So all of these pieces that coordinate with the stamp set have stitching to go along with it. So it's perfect. I just didn't want to put stitching on that part, but you can add stitching if you like. Okay, we're gonna use our scissors and we're gonna cut our sentiment at an angle. And I am just going to cut both sides at the same angle. Now I have to hold my scissors with my non-dominant hand just to make sure I'm cutting it at the right angle on both sides. We're gonna use Stampin' or Tombow liquid glue on the bottom here. It's tiny, so I didn't want to use our tape runner. It's just a little too big for that. And then the final touch for these, we're gonna come in with a piece of Whisper White Baker's twine, and we're gonna take 2 pieces that are 8 inches a piece. And we're going to tie them together in a bow as one. I like to do more ribbon or twine than I need because I feel like I have better control of it when I do that. I like the bunny ears method for my twine here. And we're just gonna pull. This is the part that it's a little difficult when you have 2 pieces to pull through. But with the longer piece, I can then pull them to be the size that I want. And this one is a little smaller bow. So let me get my bunny ears here even, and then just pull it to the size that you want. Pull it tight, and then with these twines you can cut all 4 tails at the same time. I'm gonna use liquid glue to adhere this down. You can use a glue dot if you want, but I'm gonna use liquid glue and a clear block to hold that down. And as my final embellishment for the project, I have 3 of these clear epoxy essentials. I'm using the circles on this. So I've got those right here and my take your pick tool. And I'm just gonna place, oh, I got a little glue on my finger, so it's sticking to my finger instead of the take your pick tool. But I've got 2 here in the upper left corner and 1, I put that a little close to the side, so we'll just put it up there. And that's our first project featuring the Hats Off bundle. I hope you guys like this one. Like I said, this was inspired by Tiger Scouts, whatever you want to call them. But this project really can be made in any color coordination to really fit whatever project you want. So let me know what you guys think about this project. I hope you like this one and my inspiration for the project. I knew as soon as I saw this stamp set, Boy Scouts were the first thing that came to my mind, so I needed to create that for them. All right, so that's our first project here today. Let me clean some of this up. I'm glad you guys like that. I was very excited to make that one for you guys today, but I think I'm more excited to create my next project. So this one, this galaxy card, oh man, I have to say, here comes the pun, it's out of this world. I love the way this turned out. And the best part is it doesn't even feature the main event of the Hats Off stamp set. There's no big hat on here, and it's a great way that you can use this stamp set in a new way. So I am gonna do a bunch of techniques on this stamp set. I hope you guys are ready for it. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and the way it's gonna come out, you guys will just be amazed with it. Okay, so we are first starting. Let me get all my stuff over here because it's a lot for this project. So I just need to make sure I've got all my supplies here for it. Okay, so I'm gonna show you some of the supplies that you're going to need to create this project. The first one is, of course, your card base. So we've got a piece of basic black cardstock, and this is cut to 4 1/4 by 11. So a regular piece of basic black cardstock cut straight down the middle and scored. Hi Pam, thanks for joining me this week. I have a piece of Misty Moonlight cardstock. Now this is cut to, let me get my details here, 3 3/4 by 4 3/8. Now look at the difference. This will become this. So it is actually just a plain piece of cardstock, and you can see how much we are gonna doctor this to make it a fun galaxy look here. And then I have a piece of basic black for my sentiment as well. I'm gonna put these two pieces off to the side because we are gonna work on our background piece here. Now the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to do some embossing. If you've never done heat embossing before, this is like magic. We are gonna actually take our piece of Misty Moonlight cardstock. We are going to stamp it in Versamark. So Versamark, it's a watermark ink pad. It stamps clear, but then it takes a little longer to dry. So it'll adhere and bond to our clear embossing powder and give us enough time to be able to add that to it, so it takes a little bit longer, and it's really fun to work with. I also have, let me grab it, clear embossing powder. I like to put all my embossing powders in these fun little containers. This is from the dollar store. I think you get like 2 in 1 package. So very cheap and a great way to keep your powders all together. Now a couple things that I like to use for embossing that I found at my local art store. So unfortunately Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell these parts, but you can still emboss without them. It's just a little extra that I like to use. The first is an embossing pouch. This actually has cornstarch in it. You can make this at home, very quick and simple, easy to make. This is actually a way to get all of the static off your piece of cardstock. So it will remove all the static, which you don't want when you're embossing. So we will want to create without as much static on our paper here. Let's see, I'm also gonna be using an embossing tray. I'm gonna pour my powder into here and you'll see how I use this, but this is actually from my local art store as well. All right, let's go ahead and get started with embossing first. You're gonna need a heat tool. Now, this is different than a hair dryer. This gets very hot, so you wanna be sure to be very careful when you use it. The one from Stampin' Up! I like a lot because it has 2 different heat settings. It has a low and a high, so it will make a little bit of noise when I use it, so just a heads up. You can put me on pause or mute while I do that part if you'd like. We're gonna stamp this is the spaceship stamp. We're gonna stamp that in Versamark first. And I'm just gonna do this very quickly because I don't want my Versamark to dry too much, but I am just quickly stamping this in alternating patterns down the front of my card. So, oops, it's very sticky. So Versamark is a sticky ink, hence the reason why it is so great for embossing. But I'm just working my way down here, and one more. There we go. So this part will be very quick. I'm huffing the paper just to kind of re-moisten any part of the Versamark that may have dried out really quick. And we're gonna pour our embossing powder, this is clear, right over our Versamark. So I'm just tapping the powder on. You don't need a lot, and it'll only stick to the Versamark parts because I use that little embossing pouch. So we're just gonna tap our powder on here, and you can see the little tray is gonna catch all of that extra powder. Okay, and we're just gonna give it a good tap. You can brush off any excess embossing powder that you may have got on your fingers like I just did. And then you want to be very careful because while this is still stuck to our paper, one little brush and it could all come off. So we're going to put that off to the side, and we're going to clean up our powder. This tray is great because it has this little like nozzle at the bottom, and you can just tap in your powder here. Now you definitely, if you transfer your powders into a separate container, you're definitely gonna want to mark them because clear and white embossing powders look very similar. So you're gonna wanna make sure that you label it if you do put it in a separate container. Now I also like to bring in my desktop vacuum because little pieces of embossing powder may have gotten onto my workspace here. And I'll just pick that up. This is from Amazon, like the best Christmas present that I ever got. Santa brought that to me. So this stamp set, Tammy, is actually the same one that we used before. Hats off. This is what I used from the same project. You can, or the first project, the stamp is right here. The little, what is that? Space shuttle right there. That's what I used for this project. So this one does not feature this big hat, which I really like sometimes. All right, now the embossing part. You want to be very careful when you use the heat gun. You don't want to burn your fingers. So I'm gonna start holding it up here. Now, like I said, this part you want to go mute on if you can, but here we go. You're gonna constantly move your embossing or your heat tool around because if you leave it in one spot for too long, it can burn your paper. So I'm just moving it around and it'll start to turn clear. That's how you know when your embossing powder is set. You can see that one is done. It turned clear. So we're just going to heat set all of our powders here. Constantly moving our heat gun around so it's not in the same spot. Like I said, you want to be very careful when you get to your fingers. So we're gonna rotate the paper. And rotate. It's very quick. It doesn't take very long to heat set, just a good once over here. And that's it. That's all it takes to heat set everything. Just make sure I got it all. Just a little corner down here. There we go. So that is heat setting with embossing powder. Very fun, very easy. And that clear embossing powder is what is our prize patrol this week. So fun, and it won't come off. See, it's like resistant. Now the best part about embossing powders is that it resists ink. So we are now going, let me bring in my first project here. Now this part I'm going to be putting on rubber gloves. If you saw my preview post yesterday, this gets very inky and I had a hard time getting all of that ink off. Now while our Stampin' Up! Inks are water-based, some of these darker pigmented colors will take a little bit longer to come off your hands. So I don't want to go to work tomorrow with blue and purple fingers, so I'm gonna be using gloves today. All right, we are gonna come in with 4 different ink colors, and today I'm gonna actually be using Whisper White Craft ink. So our craft ink is a little different than our regular ink pads, and I'll explain that in just a second here. But I'm gonna be using our new Stampin' Blends Stampin' blending brushes for the project here today. I have a blue one because I used that earlier and I need to know which one's blue. But I just take my label maker and I label all of my blending brushes so I know which color goes to which, so I don't mix anything up here. All right, so we're gonna start with Whisper White Craft ink. So if you aren't too familiar with what craft ink is, it is a thicker ink. It definitely takes much longer to dry than our regular Stampin' stamp pads. You'll want to heat set this. When we get to our sentiment section and we work on that part, I'm going to be heat setting this. So this is definitely a thicker ink than our normal classic inks. All right, so I've got my blending brush here and I'm going to rub it in my ink pad, kind of tap it off to the side to get any excess ink off. And we are just gonna add white right to the middle of our project here. Now this is gonna be building up to our galaxy look, so we really want that center to be white. Now with clear embossing powder, it doesn't resist the ink as much as like white embossing powder, but it still resists it a little bit, so it's still fun to use. All right, we're gonna kind of just build our white ink right in the center there, and we can always come back in and add more as it's going. All right, what do I do for my other job? My other job, okay, I work full-time for the government at, it's in here in Tucson. We have what we call the airplane boneyard, where they store all the aircraft out in the desert. So I work full-time at the airplane boneyard as the tool control manager. So I order all the tools for the guys and run the tool program. So that is my day job, but this is my second full-time job. All right, so we're gonna use a rich raspberry ink for the next part, and we're just gonna run that around the white. Now that looks really bright, but once you add some of the other colors in, it's not gonna be so bright in there. So don't worry as you're going through here if you're like, whoa, that is very purple, that's not what I wanted. It's okay, it'll blend and you won't even see it very much once it's under our colors there. All right, so there's our rich raspberry. Our next color that we're going to do here is Misty Moonlight. So that's actually the same color as our paper. So we're gonna take our blending brush again, same thing here, tap it on the side and just kind of run that over the purple so it's not as bright. Now it looks like on my end, my Facebook Live may be lagging a little bit. This is all recorded, so if it's not lagging, then on your end, if it is, it's all recorded, so you'll be able to watch it. All right, so we've got our blue. See, it's really covering up that purple, so it's not as bright there. And we'll actually come back in with a little more white at the end here too. So we're starting to get a little inky. That's why I wanted to cover my fingers up here. And now we're gonna come in with our Night of Navy. This is our really dark blue that we're gonna use just to really darken up the edges of this. So, oh, you were just there last week at the clinic. Yep, I'm right over the fence at the boneyard, and it's a really cool place to work. There's not very many females that work out there, but it's still fun to get out there with the maintenance guys and see what they're doing every day, and it's pretty cool, all the things they do out there. They're more than just a place that stores airplanes in the desert, so if you're ever interested, I can always give you some more insight on what they're doing out there. It's really cool. All right, so let's see, we are just adding our blue here more and more to the edges just to make it really dark on the end here. Cindy, I think it's my internet that's cutting out, but like I said, it's all recorded. Nobody else is home. This is why I need to get my internet upgraded, but when I went to Cox, they were closed. So, all right, yeah, it's my internet, I promise. It's not yours. I've been trying to upgrade it, but they've been closed each time. All right, so we've got our Night of Navy on the outside here. And now we're just gonna come in and really fill in a few more colors to get that galaxy look. So just a little bit of purple to fill in some sections here. There we go. And then the final part, the last part is the blue. We're gonna come in, or sorry, the white. We're gonna come in with white and just do a little bit in the center again to get some of that last bit of white in there in the center. And that is our galaxy look. I hope you guys like that technique. It's really fun, but there's more to it. So, but wait, there's more. All right, so we're gonna move all of these out of the way. And now we're gonna do some of this fun like splatter look to it. So I have a paint palette, just again for my local art, I can take these off. For my local art store, just a paint palette. And we are going to use the refill for that Whisper White ink pad. And also some Wink of Stella and a watercolor brush. So what we're gonna do, let me move all of these brushes out of the way. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a little bit of this ink, this white ink. Now it's thick, like I mentioned, it's craft ink. So it's gonna look like whiteout actually, but you just need a little bit. So I just put a tiny bit of that craft ink into my paint palette. Now with the watercolor pen, you're gonna take a couple drops of water and you're just gonna make like a white paint. Okay, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the splatter method. This is really fun. So you could take your finger and you just tap your watercolor brush over your paper and it's gonna splatter the white ink all on your paper. So that's fun. But wait, there's more. But then you take your Wink of Stella glitter brush and you put a little bit of glitter paint into the palette again, and you do the same thing. You just splatter the Wink of Stella and it gives you that really fun glitter look to your paper. All right, now you definitely want to dry this. So we're gonna take our heat gun again and just run it over the top, and this will dry everything. So this is really, really fun. And it'll dry the glitter, it'll dry the paint, and everything will be set to put our project together. So just heat set all of that on here. Make sure everything's dry. And there we go. So that is our really fun glitter. You can see there was the back side and here's the front, completely different. And each time you do this galaxy effect, it's gonna look different. Not a single one will look exactly the same every time you do that. All right, so I'm gonna move this paper out of here because it's got some wet paint on it. So we're gonna move that out and we're gonna work on our sentiment. We're going to use the Here's to the Next Adventure, and we're gonna use that white craft ink again. So the white craft ink will again need to be heat set just because it takes a little bit of time to dry this because it is a thicker ink. So with this ink, you can actually emboss with it, you can stamp again with it, just whatever you wanna do. It's really fun. But it does take a long time to dry. If you let this air dry, it would never dry. So the best way is just to heat set it. It's very quick and easy to heat set. Just make sure you don't burn your fingers because this is a little tiny piece of paper here. Ouch, that's hot. Just be careful. Okay, and we got it heat set. There we go. It's very quick to dry once you heat set it. All right, for the back of our galaxy part that we made here, we are gonna flip that over and we're gonna add Stampin' Dimensionals to the back here. So because it's kind of curled after adding the water and the shimmer and the paint, so I'm gonna use 5 Stampin' Dimensionals on the back here just to make sure everything stays stuck to the paper. This one doesn't want to come off. Let's see, there we go. And my fingers are burnt. So we've got that, and here's our card base, and we're just gonna place that right in the middle of our card. Our sentiment, I'm going to trim off the edge, and then just like the last project, we're gonna flag this end. So the last one I just did a diagonal cut. This one will just be a really fun flag here. Okay, and we're gonna add liquid glue to the back of this. I chose liquid glue because it is curled a little from heat setting it. So this will help it really stay down there. And, gosh, I really burned my fingers. Be careful with that heat tool. It's very hot. I usually hold it with a paper clip. Or not a paper clip, a clothespin, and that really helps, but that is kind of a tiny piece there, so it would have been too big for the clothespin. I still would have burned my fingers. All right, just like our last project, we're using 2 pieces of baker's twine. This is basic black, and we're just gonna tie a bow into it here and really make that smaller with what we need. There we go. Yes, Leia, I know you're hungry. I'll feed you when I'm done. These dogs, I swear. And then we're gonna add that little bit of liquid glue to the back of that to adhere it to our project. And I'm gonna put that in just the lower left-hand corner of my sentiment there. A clear block to hold that down. Now the final touch, last project I used the clear epoxy essentials. This time I'm using silver. And of course you can't have a galaxy project without using the diamonds. So we are gonna use 3 of these diamonds. One, make sure it's placed the right way, here. And then another right up here. And then the last one right here. So I wanted to use the product pieces from my June class just to show you a different way that you can use the stamp set and these epoxy essentials. They're really fun to create with. All right, and then here is my last project featuring the Hats Off stamp set and the Galaxy design. I really like the way this came out. It's so fun, and these techniques are really simple and anybody can do them no matter what your skill level is. It's just blending and then splattering and a little messy, so make sure to cover your workspace and also cover your hands. All right, so let's bring in our 2 projects that we created today. Let me find the other one here. So we've got these projects. I hope you guys enjoyed them today. Let me know what you think. I really enjoyed, I think, of course, the Galaxy one has got to be my favorite project that we created today. Definitely the big winner for today. But this little tiger cub hat project is also fun. All right. So thank you everybody for joining me for this week's Makers Monday. As a reminder, there will not be a Makers Monday next week or a Technique Tuesday, unfortunately. I have family visiting for a special military event for my husband this coming Friday. I look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks for another Makers Monday, and I hope you all have an amazing and creative week. Until next time, bye.